What's up, Jared?
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Just waking up.
Yeah. Ooh. Did not realize you went live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live. You just wake up, or what's going on, man?
Yeah. Been up for a little bit. Been kind of a slow, lazy morning so
Yeah.
far.
Your puppies are shitting a whole lot, aren't they?
Ugh. Dude, you have no idea.
Well, I think I do because the last hangout I watched, there's just shit everywhere.
Oh no, it gets even worse than that.
For the last stream, I should have said. Yeah. They're poopy puppies, aren't they?
Well, when they're eating regular food, I warned people. I was like, yeah, wait till they start eating real food. It gets. We have to clean the box easily. I mean, it was absolutely pouring earlier today. We had that nice thunderstorm roll through, so they haven't been able to go outside yet. So in 4 hours this morning, I've already had to completely clean out the box twice.
Horrific.
See, and people are like, oh, it's not so bad. It's like, wait, your experience is with one. Now try 6. Because when one goes, then the others get the idea. Oh, I have to go too.
Yeah, they're not so cute when they're rolling around in shit.
No.
No. You tried to warn us too. That's the worst part. He's like, just wait.
Yeah, no, they're really cute early on, and then they're cute as they get older and have more bladder and bowel control.
Yeah. Did you catch any of this shit with George and Barbie and LSD and all that?
I was listening to bits of Georgian with Barbie last night because I couldn't really fall asleep. But I did end up dozing off a few times during it. It's just interesting how she's like, oh, well, it's probably globe, and it's like, all right, at what other delusions is she going to hang on to?
Yeah, you missed the part where LSC got in the hangout and started cussing George out.
Really?
Yeah.
And of course, I don't even think she kept the video up.
So I don't know if she did or not. I know there were suspicions of her editing George out of the video entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But if she just removed if she just removed the whole thing, I mean, that's probably for the best, because she kicked George out of the hang, and then as soon as she let LSC into the hang, who cussed George out, and then they kicked George out of the hang, and the chat was just a shitstorm. I didn't really listen to much of it, but I mean, just what sort of individual do you need to be to cuss somebody like George out? You know?
Yeah, there really was no need.
Like none whatsoever.
Wow, I am not even seeing that hangout listed in my history.
Well, yeah, I think it's the same for me too. So she probably did delete it. But I thought LSU was a fucking piece of shit beforehand. Now, like I've just.
Oh, it's confirmed.
I mean, it's just way over the line.
Wow. On my end, it's saying that this is an empty hangout.
Yeah. But yeah, and Cordis was lashing into like a lot of the guys in ED because they were trying to like, from his point of view, people were like trying to coddle Barbie a bit. like they were treating her differently because she's a woman. And there might be some obvious reasons for that. Like, I mean, that's just how discourse is between, like, the discourse between like men and other men is different from man and woman. Uh, but yeah, Cortis sort of lashed into uh, Curved Water and Pure Anarchy and a few other people. Kaiser Cube.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is I was in a hangout with her once, probably about a week ago, and I didn't treat her any differently. But it's kind of interesting how she takes so much so personally. As when I was in that hangout, my whole thing was pointing out how, excuse me, unintelligent the average person is. And she stuck to, well, I'm average, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, so you're striving for mediocrity and trying to say you're not stupid. And yet you've bought into so much bullshit. Not really helping your case there.
No, she's anything but average. She's well below average. Even Kara was saying, like, man, she just seems dim. Like she hasn't really encountered somebody that seemed that dim before. But yeah, she's not too bright. And she is a drama whore too. She's like she was like she's always playing the victim card. Like flat earthers do that a lot, right? Like they're like, well, I come in here and everybody's attacking me. Poor me on the internet. But
Yeah.
Candy, or not Candy, fucking Barbie. I mean, just the whole time she's like, "Oh, it's so hard," and it's this, that, and the other thing.
Oh, I actually found it a little refreshing that Lori, woman who joined in with her, was pointing out. I was like, no, this bullshit and this drama is because of this flat Earth group. You get away from them, the bullshit goes away.
Yeah, that's. I mean, and that was like right after George like got done listing his credentials and shit. Is like filling out his resume, and she's like, this is probably the best time. I mean, yeah, like a lot of the drama is coming from the flat Earth, and I mean, if we should ever listen to somebody like this, it's now. It's somebody like George, right? And then Barbie was like, well, yeah, I'll respond to that, but I mean, the chat is just so. I mean, everybody in the chat, it's so hard, guys. Help me out, guys, and where?
Yeah, I was active in it for a little bit, just pointing out things and really trying to stem some of the bullshit, like what Tom and a few others were saying in there. And that started before Kara joined in. Kara jumped in on that too, because I mean, if you want to complain about composite images, then I don't want to hear you tout about what you should and should not see on a panoramic image, because guess what? The majority of panoramic views are composite images. They're not a single solid piece. Like, unless you have an actual panoramic lens on a legit camera, which mind you is still doing it digitally, so it's still pixelated, which means composite by nature. When if you're going to accept those, then you need to accept other composite images just because of the nature of how it's done. Now, artist rendering, that you can take offense with because that is a outright creation. But here's the thing, none of the agencies deny that. They clearly say this is a composite from this source, which, as you find out, can be done in this is done in this manner. This is an artist rendering, which, yeah, this is what we think it could look like. They're not saying it is, it's a possibility.
Right. No, I don't think they understand a lot of that stuff. Like, it started with the blue marble image that they found out was like a composite image, and ever since then they took a giant shit and they're like, oh my god, they're lying to us and all that, right?
Yeah, and it just shows their intellectual dishonesty and shortcomings
Yeah.
repeatedly. Though I do have a feeling if that's how it went with LSCF, after I
Well,
started
it was
listening.
it was more than that. Like he called him a wrinkly old fuck or something like that.
Yeah.
Wrinkly old raisin nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
And this is supposed to be Jesus.
yeah, like he doesn't really take any hits from the Bible, does he?
No.
No.
No, and I've pointed that out to him, and his response has just been, "Oh, well, you're just a dog. What does a dog know? Get your owner. I want to talk to him." And it's like, dogs can't fucking type on a keyboard, you dumb shit.
Well, they can, just not very well.
Yeah. Not legibly.
I think your dog would do okay. Your dog would probably make more sense than Lord Stephen Christ does, more like most of the time.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that one bit.
Right. I'll be right back real quick. I need to grab a drink. All right. So yeah, pretty eventful night. Like a lot of jokers in the chat there too. Like P Mars and fucking Tim Osmond and Multi Tom Tom and
Yeah, see, I didn't see P Marser in there.
yeah, P Mars. Well, he doesn't go by P Mars anymore. He's like it says $5,000 for flat Earth evidence.
No.
Yeah. So I mean he's obviously just trolling like everybody, trying to like just get a rise out of everybody at the same time.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah. And he called I don't know if it was last night or the night before that he called George a bigot. People don't like George.
I don't know why. Like, you would think that they'd have more of an issue with Rumpus.
Well, nobody likes Rumpus. Well, the flat earthers don't like George because he has credentials and all that stuff.
Inexperience and knows what he's talking about. And
actually does experiments that prove that the Earth isn't flat. And, yeah, like.
oh, God damn it! Hang on. Sorry about that. Had a call from work.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all right. Just I took yesterday off, so it's catching up on. I guess there were some emails that came in yesterday and this morning. It's like I worked late Sunday. I took yesterday off, and now I'm going to be on the clock this afternoon. So I was like, oh, okay.
What do you do again?
I support the X-ray scanners at the airport over here, and it's just me, so it's not like I have a true set regular shift, which kind of makes it interesting. Sometimes it makes it difficult. Like I flex my schedule based on how things are going. Like this past weekend, it was the end of month, so I had some PMs that could only be done late at night. So I worked Sunday night, took off, and took Monday off. As I think also had a repair call on Saturday, so I worked pretty much a full day between the weekend. So I took Monday off, and I kind of flex my schedule as it goes to keep things reasonable.
I see. Are you TSA or are you just some repair guy?
No, I'm a contractor that works. My contract is with the TSA. Well,
Oh,
it's
I see.
actually the way it's truly laid out. My company has a contract with a a maintenance support management company. That company has a contract with the TSA. And because of other workings and because there's needs to happen between TSA directly, there's another contract to take care of just that straight between my company and the TSA.
Right.
Gotta love government contracts. They get retarded.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, yeah.
Well, it's because they have to cover for everything. Everything has its checks and balances. I had an 45-minute long web-based course that I had to do not last month, but the month before, where it was all about compliance and contract compliance and being able to recognize what is a deviation and all of the how it needs to be handled and all that stupidness. And it's like, I just work on the machines. That's all I care about. I work on the systems. I get my shit done on time. That
That's that's the important thing, yeah.
that's the gist of it.
Right. I don't even know. I don't know the first thing about the X-ray machines, so I don't know how hard that must be, but
All right, let's try it this way. Yeah. Let's see if I can open up the image in a program that will actually let it happen. Yeah. All right. Damn Windows. I'll have to do it this way. Don't want to, but oh well. So this, can you see the picture now, Ed?
Yeah.
Okay, so this frame here, this is just the center section of the 3 sections that actually makes up the scanner itself. This is the back half of the main conveyor bed that runs through the entire length. This disc assembly here. Down here is a bunch of detectors that actually detects the actual particles from the X-ray that are shot off. Behind this cover here at the top of the disc is the actual X-ray tube itself. This is one half of the power supply for it. This is the other half. Thing takes a lot of fucking juice.
Yeah, it looks like
So
it.
we had to rip off a few doors, had to take off all the lead coated shielding that covers that area to help contain the transmitted X-rays. Like even this door on the back side of each door, the foam that's there is as sound insulation is also lead impregnated, so it's a radiation barrier as well. Same thing with inside the top of the roof. The entire thing is covered. This is from the front side where there's a ring that goes around on this side that actually acts as the interplay between the static computers on the frame here and the spinning disc. That disc spins at 90 RPM and is over 2,000 pounds when fully loaded.
Huh.
Yeah, it can do some damage. And what happened on this machine here was the bearing that holds the disc and allows it to spin freely failed. And it actually ended up with weight on it seized up.
How does something like that fail? Is it like?
Oh, this machine is about 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
And it sat for a while. And when it sits and the disc is not rotating, all that weight is just sitting on a single point on the bearing. Like if the bearing was laying flat and it sat for years, it could sit endlessly. But as soon as you put it up on edge, if it's not in motion and allowing the centrifugal and centripetal forces to keep things loose, you will damage the internal bits of the bearing.
Right.
So that's what it looked like taken apart. I should have taken more pictures as we were putting it back together, but so this is an entrance tunnel of the machine next to it that was still together. So from the outside, this is what it looks like all together. And this is all up on a raised platform. So down here in this corner, you can kind of see the chair and everything. This is where the airline actually takes the bags off the last conveyor to put on the carts to take out to the aircraft.
I see. So you mainly just repair them. You don't like check any baggage or anything like that.
No, I do nothing with the baggage. I do the I do preventative and repair maintenance of those machines, the computers and network that the TSA uses to interface with those machines, as well as the body scanners up at the checkpoint, which
Those are just metal detectors, yeah? Or
no,
No.
No, not ours. Ours is actually a millimeter wave scatter. I'm actually pulling it up now. Come on, I want to see a more larger picture of it. No, that's ProVision 2. Okay, so we finally released an update to it, but we have kind of tough to see, but and here on this site you can kind of see the basic outer bit of it, where you walk in, you stand on those footprints with your hands over your head like this, and then if a threat comes up, it'll actually highlight as a yellow area for TSA. It's like, hey, give a pat down, especially in this area. Or if they didn't see anything, comes up green.
Oh wow, I don't think I've ever seen one of those.
Yeah, Buffalo has them. So if you take a flight somewhere and you go out of the and you fly out of Buffalo itself, you'll see them.
Oh, I see.
That's
Yeah,
actually the airport that my manager was at as a technician before he took the manager role, and he just stayed in the area.
I see. Yeah, so, I don't do a whole lot of flying, so that probably makes sense. I've done security work, but I've never seen one of those.
Yeah, this is the older safe view. So the Gumby that you see here,
yeah,
is all that they would see on this screen locally. But the safe view, this more in-depth view, is only visible off in another room. Here's the fun part. I can get this view from this machine.
Oh wow.
But it's going through a channel that only I have access through my work laptop, through the actual platform.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable with somebody looking at my private parts.
Well, and here's the thing: is it doesn't show insane detail like that. Like it can give a good idea. But what's interesting is how sensitive the detectors are in the reflection and the timing. Is it will actually detect it, like if you have a large enough scar on your limb or your back from a surgery. Like every now and then, the first few times I went through one, it alarmed for my right shoulder. But I had a fair amount of still stiff scar tissue from when I had surgery and from the injury itself. So it's interesting how that comes up, because I've had people say, "Oh, yeah, well, my wife always alarms for this," and it's like, "Well, has she had, like, an older woman? It's like, well, did she have a hip replacement?" Well, yeah. Is it picking up the new hip? It's like, no, it's actually picking up the scar tissue.
Yeah.
It is not powerful enough to penetrate the skin, but it does detect anomalies on the skin. That's why actually the whole transgender thing gets interesting, because if someone comes up, how they're dressed and how they identify is how they're run. But if you are a pre-operation female to male and your run is male, you may alarm for your chest.
Right.
Because it doesn't fit the male profile. And if you're a male to female, guaranteed pre-op, you are going to alarm for your groin.
Right.
Because it actually is using a baseline basic anatomy as its reference point to know, okay, this is something that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole lot of money going into something that doesn't really prevent terrorism. I know that's sort of out of left field, but
yeah, well, no, it can, because if someone's trying to pass something through that could be a threat, and they think, oh, well, it's not really stiff enough. Like every now and then, actually, I have some thicker Carhartt jeans that I wear at work. Every now and then, a couple of the seam spots will set it off because it's thicker than expected. It's a different density than what should be there for normal clothing. So it assumes, hey, maybe you're trying to hide something.
That's pretty crazy level technology for that, I think.
And it's simple RF, bounce
Yeah.
off and come back. And that's where people are like, oh, it's X-rays. Oh, it's hazardous radiation. That's like, no, no. Walking through one of those scanners and getting the scan done, you are getting 1/100th of the transmitting power of an iPhone 5 next to your head.
Right.
So if you're worried about transmissions from those things doing any damage, why do you have a cell phone? Why do you have it in your pocket? Why do you even go outside?
Right.
You're getting more RF from there than you are walking through one of those scanners.
Like, I'm sure they catch people with like weapons and stuff like that. It's just when
Yeah.
I did a little research on just how many terrorists they've caught. They've caught zero. Zip.
They've prevented a handful. The problem becomes when they're carrying something on their person, the scanner doesn't pick up explosive material and identify it as that. It just says, hey, something's there that I don't think should be there. The X-ray scanners they used for your carry-on luggage are only 2D. Well, until ours hits the market. So you're only getting a single view of what's in there. So it's tough for the TSA to do it there. What's nice is my machines that are checking the checked baggage, oh, they find shit left, right, and center.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
But it's a 3D X-ray, and TSA can manipulate the image. They can actually tell what it is that triggered it, be it metal, plastic, potentially plastic explosives, liquids. It is tuned in such a way it can detect the type of material that's in there. It is sensitive to the density of the specifics, and it knows, okay, this material comes back as this density. This one comes back as this. This one comes back as this.
Could it
And
tell you what strain of marijuana they're smuggling, or?
strain, no. That
Right.
there's something organic in there,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah, um, and if there's absolutely nothing that is a potential threat that goes through, the TSA doesn't even see the image of the bag. It's just automatic, boom, it's good for the plane. It's automatic clear through the algorithm.
Warning: sticky icky detected.
But yeah, it's one of those, if something flags a suspect because one or more of those questionable materials are there, it'll send the image up to the TSA room for them to view the bag and them to make the determination.
Right.
And then they have to determine, clear it because it's just someone's like a bottle of wine kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the human element comes in. And it could be that a lot of those are being missed because the TSA is marking them as clear when really it should be checked. But in that case, then the TSA should be taken out of it at that point, and just anything that pops up as a suspect bag as a threat should be a hand search after that.
Well, they would be checking a lot of shit when
They would be checking a lot of stuff that doesn't need to be, like steel toe boots.
Mm-hmm.
Or an old lady's medicine pack.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of the people that gets into the whole like criminal profiling sort of thing, or racial profiling, or what have you.
Yeah, no, and that's where using the ATDs type stuff gets rid of a lot of that because everyone has to deal with it. If you check a bag, it is guaranteed to be going through some sort of threat detection system, be it one like mine or a competitor's. It's doing it.
Well, if they like I said, if they checked every single bag, like nobody would ever get anything done. Like they would just be at the airport all day. Like
Oh no, that is the reason why the recommendation for arrival time at the airport before your flight is
yeah,
an hour and a half to 2 hours
right.
to give you time to go through security and also give security time to search your bag if necessary.
Yeah. Well, I'm the sort of guy that doesn't like waiting around, but
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, well, and that's where if you're not going to have anything that's going to be questionable for you, yeah, give yourself an hour, or yeah, an hour from in the parking garage to get in, check in, get to the flight. Because keep in mind, they start boarding a half hour before.
Yeah.
So at this airport that I work at, I've flown out a few times, and I've timed it to where I've parked, gone in, checked in, got through security, and got to the terminal like in the middle after they've done the priority boarding. So I either practically walked on or I only had a few minute wait.
Yeah.
But again, I know that airport's rhythm. Any
Yeah.
other airport, I give myself 2 hours total. That way I can get in, kind of relax, and depending on time of day, grab a bite to eat.
Right.
You just can't take shit with you past the security checkpoint.
Right. I mean, I'm glad you have a job and stuff, but I'm of the opinion that the TSA is like the biggest waste of money, as far as tax dollars are concerned.
Hmm. That's a tough one. And I'm not saying that simply because they have my job. Honestly, if the contract ended and they laid off all the field work guys,
Hmm.
I'd be able to find a job pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
So I'm not really worried about that aspect to it. But
Yeah. Well, and
I can
that's why I was sort of comfortable in saying that.
yeah,
I'm sure you'd be able to find work.
yeah. I mean, if the TSA had no need and had no reason to be in existence.
Well, there's the knee-jerk reaction from 9/11 and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah, but
exactly. And that's where, but here's the funny thing. The equipment, the threat detection stuff started out long before that.
yeah.
Um, actually, how far back does it go? No, that's not coming up with what I want. Actually, you know what?
What is it? They spend like 7 billion per year with tax dollars on TSA.
No, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's something like that. Uh, well, it might not be. I don't know. I would have to look it up, but I'm thinking 7 billion, and it's like they catch like some smugglers and people with handguns and other stupid shit. Which is, you would expect Americans to be carrying handguns anyway, because I mean, there's plenty of guns to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves to carry guns, so because it's America.
Yeah, I like to keep my America gauge full.
Right. Fresh clip in my America.
Yeah, I have to go this way. But yeah, I want to say that the Examiner, the main machine that I work on, was um, um, designed like back in the 90s, mid late 90s.
Well, yeah, I know they had some X-ray and some other shit back then. Yeah, nothing like the shit that you were showing me though. It's nothing
Yeah.
like that.
That's the enhanced speed. It's yeah. How long have you guys been building it? It's been a while. Oh, you'd think as an employee I would care, but like
That
I know.
doesn't necessarily follow, but
Yeah, well, no, because thinking about it, like when 9/11 happened,
yeah.
the technology was already there, the product was already there,
Mhm.
and it just took the government a few years to get everything in place to start the installations, and then after that, it um, took time for them to run it. Like here at my airport, the entire system has only been up and running for almost 9 years, and the systems themselves are 11 years old. So it sat for almost 3 years between manufacture and when they went live.
Mhm. Yeah, they've had that stuff in place for a while, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
But then again, the conspiratard would be like, "Oh, they had the technology there, so that they did it just to make it happen, and so they had to get the contracts." Well, you know what? It is a borderline plausible theory, but what the fuck, dude?
right.
I mean, when it comes to reasons for a certain um, conspiracy theory, that one is actually one you could go, okay, can kind of see that, wanting to increase their footprint in everything and wanting to line the pockets of their friends. So that one at least has a plausible reason for the conspiracy and actions.
Yeah, I mean, we mostly deal with like the creationist fucking retards, and um, like we don't hear like the reasonable sort of like, hey, that's sort of plausible sort of things. We hear about the stupid shit that's all like anti-science, anything that remotely implies atheism,
Mm.
sort of stuff. It's tiresome. I mean, if they really were conspiratorially minded, we would expect to hear some of these things like, why is there soy in everything, or the fucking, just, I mean, you name it, like the JFK stuff, and we do hear about 9/11 and some false flags, but
Yeah, which being prior military, the idea of a false flag to me is not a stretch. We've done it before.
yeah, I know that, but I mean, if you're going to claim that something's a false flag, you need to have, something.
Yeah, there
Other
needs
than
to be a reason why afterwards. Like, okay, it's a false flag, but what is the end game?
well, with Sandy Hook, they were saying that they wanted like the Democrat, the libs wanted gun control or whatever the fuck, and the only thing is that like nothing changed after Sandy Hook. So I mean,
Well, no, and that's where I would point out. It's like, well, yeah, it was a great push for the gun control narrative. However,
yeah,
people were not as stupid as you thought. So while some legislation started, the overriding intelligence was like, no, that's retarded. It's not. It's against the Constitution. It's not. It's not going to work. So why do it if it's just not going to work?
right. Well, I mean, plus you got all sorts of fucking gun-toting right wingers in office. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
never gonna go
Well,
through. But
no, but I mean, like even in the state of Connecticut, which is very, very Democrat heavy in
mhm,
the state legislature, the state laws that they tried to pass following Sandy Hook didn't have the support to go through
right.
at even just the state level. So it was like, yeah, you know what? The initial thought of the motive looked good. But I view that one more as a the Democrats that want that gun control trying to politicize an event for their
Mhm.
benefit and for their own purpose.
Well, yeah, for
Not
their
that they
yeah.
orchestrated it, but they're trying to take advantage of it. And no, that it didn't work.
Well,
And
my only problem with that, like, not so much on the conspiracy side, but like, I mean, just that nothing's getting done about it. Like, just nothing. Period.
yeah,
It's fucking ridiculous.
no, and that's where with that I go, even though the motive is plausible, when you look at what happened is it was more politicians trying to jump on an issue and take it and use it for their own gains as
Mhm.
opposed to them actually orchestrating it happening. It's more they were trying to be opportunistic with it and failed.
Well, I think the Dems had a point, and like nobody was nobody in office was really doing anything about the repeated mass shootings.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it was unfounded, and then like a bunch of kids got shot, and it's just like when do we do something about this? And everybody's like, it's in the Constitution. Oh well. Like I mean, we've banned like assault rifles before under less strenuous circumstances, like some what do you call it? Some
As
senators.
part of the
Yeah,
Brady bill. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Well, and even then, I think if I remember right, the actual definition, the actual legal and actual military definition of an assault rifle is a select fire weapon with full automatic capability.
Yeah,
To my knowledge, those things are still restricted by the ATF. Those are still restricted at a federal and often a state level. So they were pretty much petitioning for a law that was already on the books.
yeah. I know in New York there's some pretty heavy like gun stuff already in place, especially when it comes to hunting. So yeah, there's already. I mean, for New York State, that's not really surprising for New York because yeah, we're pretty Democrat as well. So
Yeah,
uh,
and with that, that's where I found it frustrating, but a little comical at the same time around all that because it really was. When you look at it, it's like there's already these restrictions on the books. There's already those yes and no decisions made from a legal standpoint. So you want to reiterate what's already been done?
yeah,
But the other thing with the whole Sandy Hook thing afterwards with me, well, I'm not sure how much of it you saw in Buffalo, but me just being a state over, I saw a lot of it come across my news feeders where the details of what was going on
Mhm.
were misreported from the
Oh, really?
police themselves.
Well, yeah, that that doesn't completely surprise me, but uh, yeah.
Oh, it was one of those, oh, this weapon was used. But then when the report is released, it's like, oh, no, no, these were the weapons that were actually fired. He had this one on his person, but used these. Or
Well,
you
yeah.
had this
Mhm.
one in the trunk of the car that was still out in the parking lot, and he used these other weapons. And it just goes to show how politicized it became and how quickly. And
Well,
that was
and
my issue.
yeah, well, that also leads into conspiracy theories as well. Like when you have like you know, conflicting reports or you know, just things that aren't quite known or whatever. Like people
Yeah.
tend to fill in the blanks for themselves at that point.
Yeah, and that's where anytime something comes up, like the Trayvon Martin shooting,
Mhm.
when that came up, like people wanted to jump onto it and make their decision. I was like, no, 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 give it time. Let's let the details come out.
Right.
Just give it time. Same thing with Michael Brown out in St. Louis. It's like, give it time because they were starting in on that whole hands up, don't shoot thing, which came back to be complete and utter bullshit.
Well, the video was pretty compelling, right? Like the way he was just, you know, strangle held from behind and whatnot. Am I thinking of this? No,
Well,
no,
that,
no.
no,
That's something
yeah,
else.
you were thinking the other guy.
Yeah.
I was the one that started everything out in Ferguson, the suburb of St. Louis, where the guy um, had robbed a convenience store, was being the cops were trying to detain him. He pretty much went berserker mode, and people wonder why he got shot. It's not like he was shot from 20, 25 feet away. He was shot up close and personal as he was trying to take the gun from the officer. That's not hands up, don't shoot. That's I'm going to kill you, cracker.
Yeah. The Trayvon Martin thing was the guy with what's his name? The one off duty cop or whatever shot
Not,
the.
not, not even. He was a neighborhood watch
Oh, yeah, that's right.
down in Florida, and it was like, okay, dude, yeah, yeah. Be questioning when you're actually out doing that. In Florida, you can carry like freaking Red's rhetoric. He actually um, carries. Didn't bother me one bit when I hung out with him. Uh, and he told me there was a time where he actually did have an instance where he had to pull his weapon and the guy didn't stop. So he put one in his gut,
Hmm.
but stopped at the one, stopped there, let the cops come. Cops got the story. Not to mention, it was on film at the gas station on their security footage. And the cops went, saw that, got it, came over to him after. This was like probably within the span of like an hour or so sitting around. And they told him, it's like, yeah, you're good. Go home.
Yeah, I can't blame guys for carrying guns anymore. It feels like a fucking zombie apocalypse every time I step out of my fucking house. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing with firearms is teaching uh, anyone who's going to be near it, teaching them the respect and how to properly handle it.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
mean,
think that would have been a good conversation to have after Sandy Hook, like with the uh, elected officials and whatnot.
yeah,
It's like,
well, no, that's what I was saying back then. It was like the issue is not the weapons themselves. The issue is an education standpoint. Give an idiot a gun, they're going to do something stupid.
yeah,
Put someone through training and then let them have the weapon, they're going to handle it much more responsibly. The issue with Sandy Hook was you have someone who is mentally unstable who killed and then stole the firearms from a law-abiding citizen. I'm it's going to be not much you can do to stop someone when you're dead.
Right.
Especially when it was a family member. That's just.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, like something like a defense course or a self-discipline training, something. I mean, that's something we could do pretty fairly easily. But the thing is, we're not having that conversation at all.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
even
I sort of blame the Democrats as much as I blame the Republicans in that sort
Mhm.
of standpoint. But well, actually, I blame the Republicans a bit more. But uh, yeah, the libs, I don't think they just don't get anything done sometimes.
No, I'm trying to think. It's been a while since I've looked at any of the requirements for a conceal or open carry. Oh God, it's been like, yeah, it's been 14 years since I looked at it, because I looked at it back in '03 when Florida changed their law. And even down there, you have to go through a course. You have to go through a safety course before you can even uh, get your license to carry. It is a requirement in Florida of all states. And you got to make sure you're not a former felon, and you go through the proper training course. And most of the course advisors, if you give off the vibe that you're gonna be an unsafe dick, you can know the material. They can still fail you.
Yeah, they can.
But no, that's all reasonable, and it's all, and you're trying to deal with some people who are unreasonable on both sides of it. And you have people who dig their heels in on both sides of it, and it's like, come on, motherfuckers, that doesn't help anything.
No,
I mean,
absolutely not.
back when the federal government actually got some shit done, the way it happened was, yeah, they would rant and rave and stamp their feet on the party line in front of Congress and the thing, but then they'd go out and have dinner together and actually talk shit out and get it done there.
Or just have a democratic debate, which doesn't really seem to happen as much as it should.
Yeah. No, a lot of people want to go to the emotional side of things. And as soon as you bring emotion into a rational conversation, you're screwed. You're screwed. And that's where I try to tell people, even on this, is like, the emotion that I show is frustration of other people's idiocy. Beyond that, you can bring up any subject. I'm not going to interject emotion into it, because it undermines any discussion from the beginning, because you're not going to be as open to an opposing view, especially a rational one, if you're coming from an irrational emotional state.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like Shroomy came over.
Is that who Snakes is? I didn't know.
I think so.
Yeah. Shout outs to Shroomy. It's okay to be a little emotional, Jared.
No, a little bit, yes. Like, to show that you actually do care about it, but
Well,
don't argue
to
from
show
it.
that you're a human being,
Yeah,
man. You're not a machine. Like the things that you work on.
yeah. Well, see, and that's where with me, I pause. I think I find it funny when I pause. I've gotten to the point where in my head I can hear Rumpus going, um. So instead of vocalizing that pause, I my wife hates it sometimes because I'll go silent. She's like, "What? Are you done talking?" It's like, "No, I'm making sure of what I want to say so I'm understood."
Yeah. Well, that's part of like fleshing out your ideas is just talking, and Matthew and Rumpus sort of just let it all fly.
Yeah.
Whereas you or I are a little bit more cautious because we don't want to sound like a complete jackass.
See,
Um,
that's like I don't mind sounding like a jackass
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. Well,
It's
you
more,
try not to, yeah.
yeah, it's more when I'm talking about a subject, I want to make sure that what I'm saying and what I'm trying to convey
Mhm.
is actually what's inside my head.
Right.
Because
Well,
misunderstanding and misspeaking leads to a whole different can of worms that sucks.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're dealing with people that are gonna try to pick apart every single little word, every little mistake, you might want to come prepared to that you know to that battle. But um, when you're among friends, or when you're just maybe even just casually debating, it's not that bad to really let loose every once in a while.
Yeah, fair point. And I have
Yeah.
relaxed a bit.
Well, at least you're
Yeah.
not pure anarchy, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like the complete opposite side of the scale.
he yeah.
He's gotten better.
Enjoy talking to the guy. Yeah, he has gotten bad breath. Like sometimes, dude, tone it down.
No,
And
you're full of
then again,
shit.
yeah. Well, but
I lo-
then I find it funny. There was the when that Eric guy went into ED a few days ago, and I jump in, and I had a low tolerance for that kind of idiocy, and Quarters was like, hey, calm down. It's my role.
right. Well, every once in a while, the madness comes out. So I mean, I lose my cool every once in a while too. It's really not. I mean, not that big of a deal. Like the guy who really has it under control, I think, is Thor's. He doesn't sell that shit at all. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. Like he can get just completely pummeled, like just interrupted constantly, and he'll just take a deep breath and he'll be like, okay, back to the point. Right.
yeah. No, agreed. And I think that discussion that you and I were having with Thor's about the whole trans thing, I think he was missing the point that um, we were pointing out the detriment of the fashionable trans
Hmm.
make to the overall cause. I'm all for equality and actually um, being who you truly are and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm if you are genuinely born into the wrong body kind of thing, if you genuinely have uh, that issue,
Hmm.
by all means, you deserve to get what you need and live the life that you deserve. But if you're doing it for the sake of attention because it's trendy, I have an issue with those people, and they do not bring any good to any sort of change that is necessary.
Shout
And
out to Turman. Yeah, like I think he was in like Nadia's hangouts a lot, and he was
mhm.
used to hearing that sort of rhetoric. So I think he thought possibly, or he might have been drinking too much vodka, but he didn't really seem to get the premise that well, maybe it wasn't even stated. Like we were just like, well, we don't like these trendy trannies or whatever, and uh, he took that as like just generally being anti-trans, which obviously was not the case.
Yeah, no, you and I both clearly said it. It's like, no, we recognize this is a legit thing. There are people who actually have the issue and need the hormone treatments and the surgeries after to be who they truly are. We're not denying that. It's the people who cherry pick on the
Hmm.
identity for their own personal benefit. Those are the ones I question and take issue with.
Yeah. Um,
Because then it's a fashion fad, just like homosexuality was in mid '90s until early 2000s.
yeah. And I don't even think that's even remotely deniable that it is trendy. Like I mean, you really just have to look at the just how much is trending on like wherever. Like it could be on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, wherever. Like it's everywhere. But on top of that, if you look at the statistics and the actual studies, like they all say that gender dysphoria is extremely rare, and so is hermaphroditism and
Hmm.
everything in between. So I mean, if you look at that, and then you look at just how many people are actually saying that they're trans uh,
Yeah,
is
and then
disproportionate.
the two individual cases that I brought up, one of that freaking troll in Canada who socially socially said, "I'm a trans man. I'm a man. Call me him." But then when that person was arrested and arraigned for assault, "Oh, I'm a woman." That sort of cherry picking, that sort of flip flopping, is bullshit. And then you have cases of people in their early mid 20s now who, during puberty, made the decision and their family supported it for the gender reassignment, and now they're regretting it and realizing that they were wrong. And that's where I think, unless you have the true diagnosis of gender dysphoria, nothing medically should be done until the person is no longer a minor. That's my personal view, because of those instances of that change of heart kind of thing after the fact, in which point they've already screwed up their body.
Yeah. Or the example that Cordis was talking about. Were you there when he was talking about that? I think it might have been just myself and Kara that were there, but he knew somebody, or he knows somebody that got involved with like a group of tranny trenders, and perfectly well. She was, I guess, she was sort of normal beforehand, but then she was like around 18 or 20, and she decided to cut off her breasts and all sorts of other stuff, and this wasn't really a thing with her until she got involved with that crowd, and then
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that bit of it, but it was, yeah, I mean, that's where people are stupid. People do stupid things. I've done stupid shit.
Well,
It's
we've all
just I
done stupid
happened to
shit,
do it before the advent of the internet,
right? I'm just
or at
lucky.
least the
Yeah,
social media aspect.
I'm just lucky I wasn't around for like the part where like cutting off your testicles was cool. I'm glad I wasn't around for that one.
Sorry, in my opinion, that is it's never cool unless there is a legit reason.
Yeah, well, in my day, like being like trendy or like a poser or something like that was not even remotely cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the opposite of that. So I don't know. What's up, guys? To you?
Nope. I guess they're on mobile, and mobile's having an issue.
Oh,
Because just as quickly as Geist showed up and left, Pure did the same thing. Wait a minute.
oh,
Maybe they're the same person.
oh yeah. They're actually all Kara. You hear that one? Like somebody thinks Kara and Red
Oh,
is the same
well, yeah,
person.
Tom Tom.
Oh yeah, okay.
Tom Tom thinks Kara is Red's rhetoric. And I'm like, no.
No, he's got to be trolling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's got to be. And what I find funny is it was actually around that time that Tom Tom started that, was when I was down in Florida. And then someone had mentioned that every now and then I sound like Red. So when we were on the way back from that rocket launch, that's when I decided, you know what, let's fuck with them, Red. And I jumped onto the Hangout, and we were passing the phone back and forth, fucking with people.
Yeah, you do sound a little bit like Reds, but I mean nothing like the guy who really sounds like him is R&D.
Yeah.
And I said that like the first time he came in the hangout, I'm like, dude, you sound exactly like Reds. Like there's no like if I didn't see your icons, I probably would not be able to tell. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Flat earthers are stupid, basically.
Ain't that the fucking truth? I wonder what happened with Geist and Pure.
I don't know. They'll figure it out,
I don't know.
or maybe not. I don't know. I'll probably shut down this hang once the ED hangout comes back up.
Yeah, I'm surprised Jace hasn't given you the info yet, so you could start it up like before.
I don't know. I think he has a reason not to give it to me. I don't know what that reason is, but I get this feeling like he's not replying to any of my messages, and like he asked me for my email address and he hasn't sent me an email, so I don't know.
Oh. I do not know.
It could be because I was using ED as a stock account. Could be that.
Okay, yeah, that probably would factor in.
Right, but he hasn't said that, so I don't know.
Okay, so what were you doing while using ED as a sock? That's the question now.
I was just harassing flat earthers. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It might not be that big of a deal. Like I don't even know, to be honest. So
I think I was in a hangout when Jace actually came on and spoke briefly to you about using the name in another chat or something like that, and he was like, well, no, I don't disagree with what you're saying, it's more how you're saying it.
I don't even remember him bringing that up to me, so I don't know.
This was a few months ago.
I don't know. I might have been drunk or something. So you wanna wrench snakes? I don't know. I don't think I trust you snakes.
See, here's my thought: if you ask for a wrench, chances are you probably don't deserve one, because the ones that I've gotten, I never asked for.
Right. Yeah, I'll give Jared a wrench. There we go.
Oh. It's okay, Shroomy. We still love you, in a way, but not.
At least, yeah. I mean, look at it this way: we at least tolerate you. Could be worse.
Still having those mic issues, Geist? Mm-hmm. All right, well, that makes sense on why you'd drop out and come back. Trying to figure out the Yeti? Oh, I just use a fucking cheapo Logitech one, so I don't really have these issues.
Was there a device a device called a Yeti?
That's what I'm guessing. Probably a mic type
I have no idea.
or interface.
Yeah, but who are you really, Snakes? That's what I want to know.
All right.
I'm guessing it's Rob, but I have no idea.
All right. I saw this and it's just fucking hilarious to me, so I have to share it. Know your bees. A honeybee, a bumblebee, and then a cunt with wings.
Oh, Hornet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the Japanese hornets? I believe it's the Asian giant.
I might have. If I did, it was a while ago.
These fuckers are huge.
I saw a video where like there was like a small handful of hornets, and they literally took apart like a whole bee's nest or beehive, like all of them. And there's only like a few hornets. It's kind of crazy. Like the honeybees didn't stand a chance.
Oh yeah, no. Well, guys, you got to pick the right one. All right. So look at this giant motherfucker. These things get ridiculously huge. I think about that. The standard quarter, and they are double that in length, minimum. Thankfully, I never ran into them ones when I was in Japan. So, though I did see a bunch of the cicadas, and some of those got pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit's kind of crazy. Like a hornet the size of your fucking forearm. Yeah, no thanks. I think I'll pass.
Whoa. Okay, snakes, yes, they are inadvertent pollinators as well. But fuck that shit. I don't want to see one near me. I'll just leave it as that. I've never been stung by a bee or wasp or anything, and I'd like to keep it that way.
You've never been stung by a bee?
Nope.
Wow.
I know. And the house I lived in Connecticut most of my life growing up, we had a pretty big yard, but I knew where the hives were. So I knew to avoid those places. And the
Yeah.
few times that one came close, I realized just how quickly I could move when motivated.
Like, I've been stung a couple times, like one on my leg and I think on my arm. And then there was another time where I just felt something in my ear. Like, it was like just like a tickle or something like that. So I reached back and it was fucking bee and it stung me right in my ear. It's like nothing, like, what can you do about that? It's just, you're getting stung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely say I've gotten lucky with all of that.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
I mean, shit, look at my wife. How can I not be a lucky son of a bitch?
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Can't help it.
Hello, ladies.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Howdy, howdy.
Is
You
the
ever
game
need
too
a-
high or what?
No, you're good.
Sounds
If you ever need a bull though, Jared, just let me know.
Yeah, no.
Open offer.
So what's the fuzz, everybody?
Not much, man. We're talking about bullshit.
Yeah, I see.
Trying
I
to
just
figure
wonder
out
was.
who Snakes on the Flat Plane is.
Oh,
Any
No
ideas?
idea.
No. Okay.
nope. Fuck. I'm up here in a hotel in Pasadena, so gotta figure this shit out.
Are you near Anarchy? Pure Anarchy?
I had no idea where he's at. He said he's in Southern California, LA area, but I don't know exactly where he's at.
I thought he was in Texas.
Oh, Pure, yeah, he's in. Pure is in El Paso. Yes, I thought you were talking about epistemology.
Oh no.
No, I was stationed in Fort Bliss, which is out just right next to El Paso, so I know the area very well.
A lot of fucking military guys coming in ED.
Well, we kind of have to, put a stop to some of the bullshit they talk about. So in the flat Earth community,
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue for a flat Earth when you've traveled the entirety of it.
yeah, it's like when fucking goddamn not Dubay, but LSC fucking gets out and talks about we're the center of the universe. So technically, in his world, in his worldview, I've flown around the universe like 4 or 5 times by now.
Yeah. Although I will say this, by saying we are the center of the universe, he's halfway there. He's just forgetting one word: observable.
Yeah.
At which point, then he's not lying. At that point, we are the center of our observable universe.
Well, then if you want to get even more technical, when you look at the night sky, you're center of your visible universe.
Yeah. Gotta love
Yeah,
the English language sometimes.
Yeah, Yeah, but they fucking like to play word games, and hopefully nobody catches on to it or actually thinks any more than, oh, he said center of the universe, so that's the only way what it means.
You know, these are also the types of people who don't understand how motion works.
Oh yeah, I can't feel the Earth move, so it's not moving. Well, there's fucking times I got on Amtrak trains and putting my bags away and stuff on the lower floor, and didn't even realize the fucking train started fucking moving because it started moving so slowly. I didn't know it was moving until I looked out the window. So by their words of logic, the train was never moving. But oh well.
You kind of talk like Pure too. Makes sense if you're in the same area. Well, you're not, off the rails like he is, though.
Well, we got corrupted the same way, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense to me, yeah.
But I spent a lot longer in the corruption than he did, so he didn't retire. I retired. I don't think he retired, but I retired, so I did full 23 years.
Well, and not to mention, you started instructing the indoctrination as well.
Yeah, that's another thing I had to sometimes turn off, because I haven't been dealing with like civilian shit for forever. Since I've only been dealing with civilians like this on a personal matter since September. So I got to learn. I'm trying to learn how to turn some things off because I'm used to dealing with people certain ways. So I'm slowly working.
That's the problem, isn't it? Turning it off.
Yeah, it's like every day when I went to work as a platoon sergeant, I had 20 some odd people who worked underneath of me, and it's kind of a dictate. I did run my platoon like well, sometimes I had to just get shit done. Well, you do have to be an asshole sometimes, because I've learned if you let people, like they say, you give an inch, they'll take a mile.
Oh yeah.
So, I learned a long time ago, liking these. If people start liking you, they start forgetting who's in charge, and then it starts becoming a fucking question of, I don't want to hear about this shit anymore. Just get out there and do it. And that's when dealing with soldiers, and when you're dealing with their supervisors, which would be the NCOs who are in charge of them. It's like, I don't want to hear about it. It's your problem. It's your fault. You're in charge. You didn't get shit done. I'm going to chew your ass, and then you're going to go back out and fix it. And that's what I'm used to dealing with day in and day out. People want to test the waters, and then, because I could be a nice guy sometimes, and then sometimes I just turn to an asshole. So I could be joking 1 minute, and then I find out you did something fucking retarded, and I'm going to come after you. Because I don't have time for it. Because I got my bosses above me, or, when they fuck up on something, I get called into the office. Well, this is when I was working, but I would get called into the office, get my ass chewed, and if it got put on paper, was put on paper, then I had to walk back down to the platoon office and bring the culprits in and chew their ass and put their shit on paper, and they can go out and fix it. So.
Yeah, I noticed, like we talked about before, when I was running the shop in Japan, I only ask once. And if I ask, it's me telling you to do it. That's me being polite. If I have to come back a second time, you're going to hate me.
Well, for example, like, on Fridays, when we're not doing rotations, and Fridays is the end of we call the closeout. So like I said, get my squad leaders together and pull them out, say, hey, okay, you guys, we got closeout today. So you know what it is. Go down to motor pool, check the line, make sure the vehicles are all squared away. Everything's locked up. The periscopes are all clean, yada yada. There's no trash on stuff. And then they come back and, a couple hours after lunch, they'll say, yeah, okay. Like, okay, everything's done. I'm like, okay, I trust you guys. Well, I wouldn't say that. Okay, thanks. And then, like an hour later, the first sergeant walks down to the motor pool and does his checks, and then I get a nasty phone call like, hey, why am I finding trash on you guys' tracks? Why is your vehicle not on your vehicles are not on line straight? They're crooked, blah, blah, blah. And I go, hey, first sergeant, my guys told me it's straight. It's like, did you come down here and check it? It's like, no, I trust my guys. Then it's where I start learning, don't trust them. So I got to go down there and see what the problem is, get my ass chewed out for things not being straight, and then I get on the phone, I bring all my squad leaders down there, and I say, okay, you guys are going to fix this stuff now. Don't bring your soldiers down here to do the dirty work. You guys are going to do the dirty work. Because normally they're supposed to be the supervisors, not the doers. But then I force them to do all the dirty work, and then they kind of learn their lesson after a while.
Were you Marines?
Army.
Okay.
And my drill sergeant stuff was back in, well, about 4 years ago now.
I see. Yeah, I've never been in the military. I've had some friends that joined the Army, and I have a few relatives that were in the Navy. It's about it, though. It's about the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why. It's one of my bad habits I have with this hangout stuff is when I get with Thors and whoever and I start interrupting. It's just a habit of mine that when I start hearing something I don't like, I just don't want to hear it anymore. You're going to start listening to me now, and I got to turn off that whole part of my thinking process to let them carry on and then go and deal with it. Yeah. I'm used to hearing it when something's not going my way. Not going to say it that way. I'm not agreeing with it. And I'm used to just stopping as it goes because I know when, like, if I start getting my ass chewed by my superiors, I know just to keep my mouth shut and stare at the wall and, just say yes sir, no sir, yes sergeant major, no sergeant major, whatever, huh?
Just shut up and take it.
Yeah, I just take it, but I don't know anybody in here personally or so like that. So I got a bad habit of always thinking that they're the same people as I am, so I don't have to take up their shit, and I'm just going to deal with it as it comes along. So it's a bad habit of mine. I'm trying to slowly work through, but
yeah, well, at least you're working on it. Thors is a nice guy though, and he's ultimately patient. So
yeah, it's the reason. Like afterwards, when everything calmed down, I was like, yeah, I still love you, Thors. We still can argue back and forth about your communist utopia and whatever.
Right. Well, I mean, his utopia. It's mostly after the fact. It's like, well, he doesn't like he doesn't like capitalism and whatnot. But when he talks about he doesn't like capitalism because it's unsustainable. So it's going to reach a point where it's just going to be like, well, we have all the money, we have all the resources. Now what, right? So communism to him would be like, well, okay, that's what we would replace it with at that point. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. But for me, the thing is with communism has been tried, and the reason why it won't work in the first place is because humans are humans.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, I'm sure you could have a debate with him about that too. But,
yeah. Well, I'm kind of learning when it comes to that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of leave, because him and me are just going to get into it deeper and deeper. And I prefer just to have civil conversations on Hangouts versus arguing and shouting matches, unless it's with flat earthers or retards or something like that. But he's going to be very staunch in his opinion. I'm going to be very staunch in my opinion because, I do live in a capitalist society. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. So I really, for me, communism is the Soviet Union. It's, North Vietnam, North Korea, but I do understand the principle because I had, it was part of some of the stuff I took in college, but, communism in its purest form won't work because humans are humans. There's people going to always want to have more than the other person, and there's people are always going to go into build a hierarchy structure. There's always going to be somebody in charge, and somebody's going to. It's this way humans are, and it's you're never going to get around it. So that's the reason. When they always say communism, that wasn't communism. That's not communism because communism is great on paper, but as soon as it gets into the masses, somebody's going to have to take charge. It's like with Antifa, it's the same thing. Right now, they're trying to figure out, when they're out there doing these marches and protests, you need to have somebody in charge who kind of lead stuff, but that kind of conflicts with their whole idea of having nobody in charge. It's it's against their whole premise of having somebody in charge, but they just talk about openly. They need to have some kind of structure, some kind of form to their ideologies. So when they do these protests, they're all in the same sheet of music. They're all doing things how they're supposed to be, and just a bunch of people just run around destroying stuff for not getting the point across because that makes people hate them. Mm-hmm. But that is kind of directly goes against their whole philosophy of there's nobody in charge. Everybody can everybody's free to do whatever they want. So
yeah, well, Thors might sort of question some things that might seem, I don't know, a bit taboo, like because he's been in these sorts of hangouts before. He's been around people who don't really mind, they who don't really pull their punches. So, and plus, like I said, he's a nice guy and he's very patient. So, I'm sure you guys could talk reasonably.
Yeah, well, I know we could. It just him, we're just two sides of a different coin, and maybe over time I can figure out. I can learn to calm down and stuff like that. But at this point, I guess the ED is back up again.
Yeah, I was going to mention. I was going to close this down, and we could head back over to ED.
Yeah, I just saw it pop up on my screen.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I will see you there in a bit.
All right, man.
All right, get you over there.
Yep.
Bye.